Hello beautiful beloved twin flames, this is Stephanie Parasha, Divine Light, coming out to you from my car actually, so I do apologise for the extra noise in the background. I hope it's not too disturbing to you. Apologies for that. Often it is a time when I get a nice clean quiet break in my mind where I can process and download and bring through updates for you on the twin flame journey and where we're up to right now in terms of what information I receive from my guides. As a twin flame myself, I have a particular role to play, and so very much being urged to utilize the skills that I have, which are, I will explain to you how I receive this information. I get information both what we call clairaudiently, so I hear as if I'm being spoken to, pretty much given words, given images, so clairvoyance, I see that images in my mind's eye, and also cognizance, which is kind of a knowing. Again, it's kind of an information download, so get the words said, and so that's how I've been able to tune in to information that some people may consider a little bit out of reach or it's hard to grasp, but over time I've been able to develop these skills and trust them. Originally, when I was first receiving this kind of information, I was very doubtful of it, questioned it, whether it was my imagination and I must be making stuff up, and then eventually over time I was able to confirm and get together with other people that had similar abilities, and we would tune in and see and feel and hear and describe similar things. So we would practice together. So over time I've practiced these skills, and so I'm now very much being urged to use these skills to bring through information that otherwise may be quite difficult to grasp and understand for people on this twin flame journey. Although I would really hope and really imagine in my mind that many twin flames out there are very much angelics and light workers and have so many gifts, psychic and abilities such as these themselves. So for many, I'm also only really just confirming what you already know in some way yourselves. So and it's always nice to hear that, and I myself love to receive the confirmation as well when I hear other energy readers or people describing the energies, and I'm like, yeah, that's what I was getting too. So I really hope that what I'm bringing through to you, the intention of doing these videos, is that I want to really help and support us all out there on such a very interesting journey, that at times can be kind of confusing and very difficult, as much as it can be magical and wonderful at the same time. So I've been urged to bring through some information that came through this week, which may help people understand this current stage, I guess, that we're going through. Now, I've spoken to this many times as a big part of what the Twin Flame mission is about, is around the dismantling of harmful gendered stereotypes, harmful, all the wounding. We're healing the wounding that has taken place due to the polarization and separation, extreme separation of the genders, and the effect that that's had on the psyches, on the mind and the body and the spirit and the soul of and the emotions of each of those polarized genders, and how that's continuing to play out, and how we are currently working on healing those templates to bring through a healthy, balanced masculine, feminine, whilst those two energies are, I'm not saying they should never exist or they shouldn't be there, but the way in which they've been operating is more from a wounded place, and therefore has sort of become more polarized and has created a lot of wounding within each of those sectors. So whilst I don't want to feed into or continue to participate in a polarized, gendered world where I see so many problems that have been created due to this, I understand the continual process of our journey and that we're not quite at the finish line yet, and I have a tendency to want to get to the end because I can see what I vision the end result to be, but at the same time we've got to acknowledge each part of the process, and that can happen, for example, when we're wanting to rush to the end and be really spiritual and peaceful and loving and harmonious, and we think we can do that in our mind. But when we skip certain steps, like, for example, many people try to do, because it's the hardest part, is skipping the emotional part of the healing, that we know that doesn't achieve the result that we're actually looking for in the end, and we just end up needing to go back and fix that anyway. So what I want to talk about today is part of a process of between, I guess, the feminine and masculine, as we are more balancing out and healing our wounding. A part of that journey that I feel we may be going through at this time collectively. And collectively, I'm talking about, there's always waves. So I'm not saying that everybody in the whole planet's going through this at the same time, but the first wavers are those groups that have chosen to kind of lead the way, to be the way showers, to experience the energies first, and then once that group have experienced that energy, then they can turn around and say, oh, I know what it feels like, this is how you do it, come through, we can help and heal. So many twin flames, and I know myself, are in that first wave. And so what I was getting a download about was to do with a stage that we're going through right now. And I can say that from the feminine point of view right now, the female, okay, this is not necessarily female, so here we can trip ourselves up. I trip myself up and get confused. So the generally feminine twin, who will predominantly be the female, however not always the female. Often we've got the males that are holding more of a feminine energy, and I know that I work with several male clients that are twin flames that hold the more of the feminine energy. So what's going on for them right now is a little bit of frustration. I'm getting, there's a lot of feeling around at the moment for feminine twin flames. I'm just sitting here getting a bit stuck in traffic, so watching here what's going on. I think people need to hold up on their traffic. So, people just need to stop. I'm just going to pause for a second. Oops, sorry about that. Got a bit distracted. This is actually the crux of the message that I want to give out today. So, at this point, I'm sort of really sensing there's quite a lot of a little bit of irritation, a little bit of annoyance, a little bit of disappointment, a little bit of like, hurry up, come on, how long is this going to take, kind of energy from generally the feminine twins who have tended to be the ones that have awakened first and have gone through their spiritual awakening and their healing process a little bit more ahead of the masculine. And so they're kind of in this space now of like, I feel like I'm ready and I've done all this work, and masculine, hurry up and wake up and stop being so sleepy and let's get on with it. And so that is creating a little bit of friction, because there has tended to be some expectations around that, and it's been, kind of difficult for the feminine twin to surrender fully and to let go of their expectations and to move out of that energy of kind of waiting and sort of moving ahead and trying to get on with things within their own lives. And so anyway, on the other side of that, what I wanted to talk about was a message that I got through from Spirit during a meditation that I had around what the Divine Masculine are going through. And this is a little bit of behind the scenes information that will probably, hopefully, this is my aim, help the feminines understand what is going on for their masculines right now, so that they can just rest in the knowing that there is a lot going on for them. It may not, again, look like it on the surface. You might not have concrete evidence, but trust me, there is a lot going on for them given what I was shown. So what I was shown was I was sitting in the meditation, got a very sore shoulder, started to get very painful and heavy, and then my legs started hurting, my hips and my upper legs were just aching. I was like, what is this? And then I suddenly thrust into this kind of vision situation where I was hearing 1, 2, 1, 2, left, right, and I suddenly became aware that I was in a male body. I was in a war type situation. I had this pack on that was completely heavy on my shoulders. I had strapped guns on my shoulder, and my legs just didn't want to move, even though I was kind of having to be forced to walk in this kind of style of walking in a place that I didn't want to be. I was feeling completely resistant. I was like, what am I doing in this awful situation where I am literally, I knew I was off to war. I was in a battlefield of some kind, and I was being issued instructions, and it was not a good situation. I fully at that point felt the heavy brunt of how it feels to be in a male body, being forced or enlisted into having to be in the armed forces and off in a war zone, and it was not good. And wow, the heaviness of that. And so then I got the message, the words de-arm. So that's why my arm and my shoulder was so sore. What I got was that the masculine are in a process of de-arming, and that kind of takes several different forms. One of them is, I'd hope that that's a literal, and it may well translate eventually, and that will take some time, I imagine, into the material 3D world of that actually being the case, where potentially, politically I can't see that happening right away, but that we do come to a point where we de-arm, where we actually put down our guns and we say, hey, why are we fighting each other? Why are we doing this to each other? Why are we putting our young men into these situations where they need to have to go and fight and kill and be in this kind of survival situation where, what is the point of that? Like, really? So, and the other part of that de-arming is that I also got a message on was the armour that the masculines have had to place around themselves in order to be safe and protect themselves, is now beginning to be dismantled. So that's what they're meaning by de-armour. So what the masculine is going through now is a really difficult emotional stage where they're having to become really vulnerable and dismantle their armour. In fact, they probably wouldn't have done that by choice, but it is by nature a stage of evolution that is naturally taking place. So it's as if, let's just say they show me an example of a creature, the armadillo. Okay, the armadillo has developed this armor around it, but maybe over time, as it evolves naturally, it no longer needs that armor, and its skin may soften, or obviously through natural evolution we lose certain physical aspects to ourselves. So this is very much a part of stage of evolution and growth. It's a process that we may not be able to see to the naked eye. Therefore, that's why it's very frustrating, because it is going on behind the scenes. But we will start to see the effects of this in some way. Can't tell you how that's going to look right now, but what we need to know as awakened feminine twins who have established a good footing in the spiritual realms and have worked a lot with emotion and understand and know how to create a loving, compassionate, non-judgmental space. This is the work. This is the work right now for feminine twin flames. It is not about getting all uppity and annoyed as to why your twin is not awake, your masculine twin. It is about holding space for them to heal the wounds, these very damaging wounds that have seriously affected their ability to access their emotions. So yeah, that's pretty much the theme. I hope that gives a clearer understanding, because I know that because these things are beneath the surface, they're behind the scenes, they're kind of hard for some people to grasp. But if you can know and understand that is the bigger mission, the bigger part of the process that twin flames are involved in, hopefully that will help you we are getting a little bit of a kick up the butt. I am really sorry, because Spirit are kind of just saying I have to mention this. So they're saying, some people are just really using the twin flame labels to define what's going on for them as a kind of a romance, and just completely getting hung up on that. This is one of the most self-sacrificing missions that one would choose to be involved in. So if you have signed up to be a twin flame and you think you're a twin flame, we're getting a telling off. I'm really sorry, I'm going to have to bring this through. Just get this silly notion out of your mind that this is just about you and your partner and a romance. It is completely way bigger than that. You are on a mission to help society evolve and to heal, and to, there will be rewards at the end of it, for sure, on a personal level, but the amount of self-sacrifice required is going to be way more. So, we just got a big kick up the butt then. I'm really sorry to have to bring that through, but get this, we're kind of sorry, they're kind of saying you're being silly, a lot of being really silly, and we need to become mature and spiritually and emotionally mature enough to get out of the way of our own personal desires about having our personal needs met, and get off that romantic notion bandwagon and actually do the emotional work that is required of us. I hope you can hear that and hear the kind of firmness that involves as a message from our spirit teams on what, the bigger part of the mission, which is what I often talk about. I don't feel, hopefully people aren't feeling too rattled by that. I personally feel the structure around that. I feel the structure that gives us more of a honourable place to be in our missions. And so I hope that you can feel that too, and step out of some of that sort of self kind of, why isn't he texting me, and why isn't he contacting me, and what's he doing, and I just want to be with him forever. Really, let's drop that, feminines. We are here to support our masculines as they heal, and to hold that really good, beautiful healing space to enable that divine masculine. That's the one we really want to come through. And how can that even start to begin to grow when, we're still holding on to these old ideas and expectations? I hope that helps you all. Bit of a strong kind of message today, but it had to be said. So I'm sending you all out heaps of love and light at this time. If anyone's interested in contacting me personally for a session, there's many different types of sessions available on my website, so check out the links below. Also, just one more plug for my Taj Mahal twin flame activation that I've been asked to do when I visit India, which is only 18 days away from now. I'll be going to India, and then funnily enough, 18 is a number at the moment for me, so because that activation will take place on the 18th of March. So and I just saw the numbers 444 on a number plate as I said that. So hopefully that's all in good alignment for you all. And stay strong out there. Okay, bye for now.